Hi, it's Alexis Hasselberger, time management and productivity coach. I want to talk today about the 4-day work week because, as you may or may not remember, I am actually experimenting with a 4-day work week in my own company as of this year. So, as of January 1, I started not working on Fridays, and I'm doing all of my work between Monday and Thursday. That's what I've been trying to do. And what I did promise at that time is that I was going to give you an update midway through the year about how it's been going. And I know this is a little more than midway through the year, but maybe that gives you a little bit more info. And I want to share this with you because one, it's not been all smooth sailing. I wish that it were, but it hasn't been all smooth sailing. And I want to share with you kind of the good, the less good, and what I'm thinking about for the future. Like, will I continue to do this and will I not? So that's what I want to share with you here today. So first, let's talk about the good. So there have definitely been some like really amazing things that have come out of this 4-day work week. And one of them is, that I am a night person. I am waking up has been the hardest part of my day since I was 5 years old, since I had to start kindergarten. Waking up is just really hard for me. And even though over the years, my kids have gotten older and they get themselves to school, so I don't have to wake up when they wake up anymore. I wake up a little bit later. Even just having that one weekday a week where I don't have to wake up to an alarm, I can like sleep until, my body naturally wants to sleep. That has been actually a really big game changer. And you'd think, well, don't you have the weekends for that? But not always, right? On the weekends, there's often kid stuff to do or obligations that we have. And so it's just been really nice to have that little bit of, I don't know, being able to align with my body more on Friday. So that's been something that's been really amazing. Also, there was something that I didn't really expect, which is that I kind of thought that it would feel like I had a 3-day weekend. That's what was happening. I was going to take Fridays off and it would kind of feel like a 3-day weekend. But the quality of Friday is actually very, very different from the weekend. And in retrospect, there's a couple of reasons for this. The main one being that on the weekend, there's family obligations, things that I have to do. Everybody is home, right? My kids are home, my husband's home, everybody's home. On Fridays, I mean, not during the summer, but like on Fridays during the school year, I'm the only one home. And so that means that I have a day to kind of get things done where nobody's asking anything from me. So on the weekends, I am making breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I am making sure kids get to places that they need to get, although less so as they're now teenagers and a little bit older. But there's obligations that I have in my day on the weekends that actually I don't have on Fridays because I'm actually just responsible for myself on that day. And so I am still getting a lot of stuff done on that day, but it's following my own agenda. There's nobody else's anything that they need from me. And that has just been kind of, I don't know, freeing. I've never had that before. And, I've always worked Monday through Friday. And then on weekends, there was obligations, right? I mean, I guess I had this before I had kids or et cetera, but it's been a good long time. So that has been really, really nice. Now, what am I doing on Fridays? You might be wondering. So, I am still taking some calls on Fridays, but these are not work calls. These are kind of work adjacent fun calls, I call them. So, I have a number of colleagues that I like to keep in touch with, and those types of calls are typically scheduled on Friday mornings. And so, not early mornings, right? I'm still sleeping in a little bit, but those are scheduled for Friday before noon typically. So I'm doing those, and that's been really fun. I am also, doing lunch a lot, right? So I'll take my kids to lunch if they're home. I'll go out to lunch with my husband if he is home. I am using that to meet up for lunch with friends and colleagues. In just a more consistent way than I've been able to do in the past. And then I am spending almost every Friday afternoon in the pottery studio. And if you've been here for a while, you know that that is my current obsession. I spend a lot of time in the pottery studio, and so it's been really nice to have Friday afternoons as a time to go there. It's not very full because other people are at work, and I get a lot of like nice solitude, alone time to throw pots and do what I need to do there, which is really fun. So that's how I've been spending those days. Now, I told you I was going to tell you about the things that aren't going as well, also, and I definitely want to do that soon. So there are a number of things that have made working a 4-day week hard. And one of them is that I've had to make a lot of exceptions. Not a lot. I've had to make a few exceptions. And that's hard for me because I'm trying to do this thing. But, there have been times where, I have a client and they're trying to align a bunch of leaders on their team. And like the only time available to do that is Friday. And it didn't seem reasonable for me to be like, well, I'm sorry, I can't do that. So there are a couple of times when I've done that. Or there have been a couple of times where, a client needs to schedule a workshop and the only day that their team really has available for that is Friday. So I have made a few exceptions in the past several months, not tons, but doesn't feel good to have to make exceptions in that way. I will also say that recalibrating my workload has been the hardest part for me, hands down. Um, I am not a person who has a lot of like fluff in my workday. I'm a person who's like really on or off. So when I am working during the workday, I am just like on it, executing all day long. Not that this has always been easy for me, but I have found that I am very much an either on or off person. And so my work days were already pretty efficient. Also, I'm a time management and productivity coach. I've been working on these skills for 20 years. And so I had already built a lot of efficiency into my workday. And so I think where, some companies are saying, hey, it's really pretty minimal in terms of disruption to move from 4 days to 5 days. A lot of that is because there's less of like the fluff. Like people aren't necessarily going to the doctor on a Thursday anymore if they have the Friday off, et cetera. Or maybe there's just kind of more efficiency to be built into that day. But my days were already very efficient. And so I have been really humbled by the fact that I have had to work really hard to recalibrate what I can get done in a 4-day work week versus what I can get done in a 5-day work week. And there have been, more weeks than I want to admit where I put too much on my calendar. I put too much in my task list, more than I was able to accomplish. And I had to, move things around every week I get better and better at this, right? And this is something where, every week I just learn more about what my capacity is for a 4-day work week. And so as a result, I plan more for that 4-day work week instead of what I used to think I could get done in a 5-day work week. This has given me a renewed sense of empathy for my clients because this is what a lot of them are doing when we start working together, right? They're working from a place where they were so overly ambitious about what they could get done in any given day, and reckoning with the fact that you have less time than you want to get done the things that you want to do, and that you actually have to plan for less, not just, at a certain point, we all reach our capacity limit, right? And so we can't just shove more into a day. But anyways, this is something that I'm always compassionate about. I'm always empathetic about it, something that I know, but that empathy it's running much, much deeper right now because I'm just like in the thick of it right now as well. I would say the last several weeks, I have gotten back into what I call task realism, where I am not only assigning myself stuff that I can actually get done in that day, but maybe I've even gone the other direction in an attempt to rectify things where I have had, this week, yesterday, I did a few things that I had planned to do today because I ended up with a little bit of extra time because I had gotten better at right sizing that planning. But that has been hard. It's been really hard, and it's taken me half a year to kind of get to a good rhythm again, right? I also would say that the other thing that hasn't gone as well or was kind of an unexpected hurdle, although I guess I could have expected it, was that taking off Fridays has negatively impacted my Mondays. So Monday has always been my no meeting day. This is the day where I get deep work done. It's the day where I write. It's the day where I usually make these videos. Like it's the day where I create content. It's the day where I'm like in deep thinking mode. I never take calls, etc. And before I started working the 4-day work week, I would say like 80% of Monday was for that deep work and 20% was for admin, email, etc. Now, because I am not checking my email on Friday, really, I stopped checking my email around 5 p.m. on Thursday. I have a lot of email and admin to catch up on Monday, more so than I did before when I was working on Fridays. And so what I found is that my day is more of like a 50-50 split on Monday. I have less time for that deep work because I need to get back to inbox zero, make sure that I'm on top of the things that came in over the weekend that came in since Friday. And so that has been an adjustment as well. And what I'm doing about that is I'm experimenting with adding one extra blocked off day every other week for deep work so that I am accounting for the fact that I still need to do that deep work. I still need time for it. And when am I going to fit that in? And I have found for myself that blocking off time consistently, that's something that really helps me stick to it because otherwise, if people can just put meetings on it, then all of a sudden there's just these 30-minute holes of time that I have to deal with. And I really need longer periods than that to be able to drop into deep work. So that's what hasn't been going so well. So I wanted to share this with you, kind of the good, the bad, what I'm doing with it, how I'm thinking about it. And we still have a fair chunk of the year left for me to experiment with this. I haven't 100% decided if I'm going to keep it going. It was a 1 year experiment. That was my experimentation window was 1 year. And so I'm going to decide at the end of December whether I want to continue doing this in my business, whether this is something that I want to continue doing overall. So right now, the signs are pointing to yes. Like there have been a lot of hurdles, but they're things that I have iterated around, right? They're things that I've practiced with. They're not insurmountable. And I really am enjoying a lot of having this day there, right? I also really like having this Friday day there because things like doctor's appointments, I have a lot of doctor's appointments. I had cancer a couple of years ago, and so there's still a lot of residual doctor's appointments. My kids have doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, orthodontics appointments. And it has been really nice to also have a day that this stuff is kind of dedicated to so that, I can schedule things into that Friday that would have otherwise been in the middle of a workday and would have been more disruptive. So, there's a lot of things I forgot to mention. That was something that I liked about it, but haven't decided 100% yet. I'm thinking I'm probably going to keep this going because the things that are hard about it are things that I can solve and things that I am in the middle of solving. But I'd love to know from you, is this something that you think would be possible in your job? Is there room? Is there flexibility for this? If you are an entrepreneur or a freelancer, you have a little bit more kind of leeway to do something like this. And if you haven't done it, why not? Why haven't you tried this? Is it something that you're even interested in doing? Let me know in the comments. I would love to know how others are thinking about this concept of a 4-day week. As we think about the 5-day week, is all of it is a construct, right? There used to be 6-day weeks, and then we mandated 5-day weeks, and really we used to work all the time. So the 4-day week is just the next iteration of that. That's why I'm experimenting with it. I'd love to know what you think. And of course, if you like this kind of content, you want to keep getting it in your feed, then please make sure to subscribe and give it a like if you liked it so that I know what kind of content to keep creating for you. Thanks.
Hey, what's up? It's the video editor here just to make sure you subscribe just like you said because only about 14% of the people that watch our videos are actually subscribed. So please hit that subscribe button, please, and like as well.